Hey, welcome everyone. This is Greg Hague, and welcome to our national teleconference today. Super special. We're on video, so you could be listening on audio, but we also have this on video for you. And the guest I have today is off the chart. I have been waiting for months to have this guest. I scheduled him months ago. This is like the guy, if there's any person you want to hear, this is the person you want to hear, the one and only Jeffrey Gitomer. And before I introduce Jeffrey, I want to tell you that I met Jeffrey, maybe 6-8 months ago in person live, but we've spoken on the phone a number of times. Met him through my good friend and business partner, Harvey McKay. And Jeffrey is the guru. If you're looking for the guru of sales, if you're looking for the guy who can tell you how to go out and make it happen, how to sell, this is the guy. His original, I think it was his first blockbuster book, The Little Red Book of Selling. And I know he's got a New York Times bestseller, The Sales Bible, and The Little Black Book of Connections. But the book to me that to me moved the needle, I mean, one of the metamorphic works of all times in terms of how to sell is this Little Red Book of Selling. And so Jeffrey Gitomer, New York Times bestselling author, one of the most respected speakers and authors in the country. He is an NSA Hall of Fame speaker. The guy is off the chart. Today, he's not wearing his trademark red shirt, so we're going to bring him back again and put that shirt on him. But I'd like to welcome my good friend, sales guru, speaker, author, amazingly cool guy, Jeffrey Gitomer. Jeffrey, welcome to our Real Estate Mavericks show today.
Thank you, Greg. And thanks for setting such low expectations for what's about to happen. I think just to clarify something, which I think is very important for anyone who's looking to write a book. And I'm not talking about an author of a book. I'm talking about a writer of a book. They're two different things, because oftentimes an author hasn't written his own book. Harvey's a writer, you're a writer, I'm a writer. That's why we get along well. Other people do not write their own books. They pay writers. Anyway, The Sales Bible was my first book in 1994. And I realized, I thought that was like my definitive piece. And it made the New York Times bestseller list, and it did all kinds of cool stuff. But then I wrote my customer loyalty book, the Customer Satisfaction is Worthless, Customer Loyalty is Priceless. I wrote that like 3 or 4 years later. And then I wrote the Patterson Principles of Selling, which became the little platinum book of Cha-Ching. It was the only time I've ever done research for a book. It was about John Patterson, the founder of the National Cash Register Company, and how he created pull-through marketing by having people create the demand for a receipt rather than to try to sell a cash register. And this is this is in 1900. And then my fourth book was The Little Red Book of Selling. Well, it turns out that had I tried to start out with The Little Red Book, wouldn't have happened. It took me years and years of understanding the writing process and what it took readers to read and really respond to and actually relate to create that book. And the background of the book is pretty simple. I met with my publisher, Ray Bard of Bard Press, in a little Mexican restaurant in Austin, of which there are many. And he said, Harvey Pinnock wrote The Little Red Book of Golf and sold 1.5 million copies. I'll bet that you could write The Little Red Book of Selling and sell more. And I thought, wow, that sounds pretty cool. And I already had, in my mind, I had this book called Paris Out of Hand, which had this red cover in cloth and a string going through it and real thick pages and just beautifully typeset and a little piece of art in the middle of an Eiffel Tower upside down. And I knew what the book was going to look like before I even started. And so I sat there in this restaurant and I just said, Ray, give me a napkin. And so I wrote in a Sharpie pen, that I always carry, chapter 1 is going to be kick your own dish. And chapter 12, I'm going to do 12.5 things. And chapter 12.5 is going to be resign your position as general manager of the universe. And then I said, well, I got to have something in there about asking questions. I got to have something in there about why people buy. I got to have something in there about value. I got to have something in there about networking. And before the luncheon was over, I literally had sketched out the book. But
I didn't know that. Before the luncheon was over, you'd sketched out the book. That's awesome.
But it took me 2 years to finish it. And the reason it took me 2 years to finish it is because if you're a writer, you have to do what you feel at peace with, what you feel is the right message. And I wanted to create a book that was not just a well-designed book, but a timeless book that anybody could pick up and anybody could read and anybody could relate to it. It's got cartoons in it. It's fun. It's funny. And it has in there enough information for any salesperson to relate to so they can go out and turn their prospect into money, which is really what sales is all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a meeting with somebody. I need to turn that meeting into money. And I try to do it without saying, hey, go get the money. I try to say find out their reason to buy, find out their motive, find out how you can help them the most, what's your value statement. And all of a sudden they turn into buyers, not being sold. My first rule, people don't like to be sold, but they love to buy. And when you have that as your guiding principle, it's so easy to be able to create that relationship.
Yeah, I love that, Jeffrey. And as you know, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but the whole mainstay, the foundation of Real Estate Mavericks is my brand, is don't be like the other guy.
Right.
Just do not be like the other guy.
I think most important, you have differentiated yourself between a lister and a seller. And you want the guy to be the lister. But the guy's got to do way more than listing at the end of that transaction in order to be able to get the next listing. Mm-hmm. If you've been in the business for more than 5 years and you're still prospecting, you're doing something drastically wrong.
Yes, you are.
There needs to be enough referral base to your business to where you don't even ask for them, you earn them. And before we're done today, I'm going to give you 3 or 4 ideas of mine that I've been taught by my own examples of what has happened. And my teachings to other real estate firms that I can't believe they don't do this as a matter of course. But they're so interested in their own MLS bullshit that they ignore what they need to do to be different than the other person. And, your term maverick is the perfect term. Because if you're old like us, you remember Brett and Bart Maverick, correct?
Oh yeah. I mean, I hate to admit that, but I remember them well. One of my favorite shows, back along with the Rifleman.
Yep.
Remember that?
Chuck Connors, who pitched for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, interesting you bring up MLS because being, you teach sales and you're not integrally in the real estate business. It's interesting because the MLS is actually one of the biggest price depressors on the face of the earth. These MLSs have these rules that as soon as you list the house, Jeffrey, you have to put that house in the MLS. And as you know, with any product on the market, time kills the price. The longer a buyer knows that
it's been on the market for 8 months, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's same home, same everything, same price, same all that. Yeah. If it's been on the market 8 days versus 8 months, it's going to sell less after 8 months. And yet the MLSs want every single agent to put them in right away. And get this, they disclose, guess who paid? The seller pays the tab. Seller pays the commissions. Seller's the one that funds the MLS through the Realtors. And yet the MLS is disclosed days on the market to buyers. Now, how unfair is that? Talk to us about some sales strategies. I mean, you are like the guru. Just talk. Tell us what's on your mind. Some of the best stuff, the lessons out of your books.
So this is what I'm finding. I'm not the youngest guy on the planet, but I'm very socially active and socially aware. I have almost 100,000 Twitter followers that are all legitimate. I have about 5-something million views on my YouTube channel and about 35,000 subscribers to my YouTube channel. Most people have somewhere between 500 and 2,000 LinkedIn connections. I have 27,000 LinkedIn connections. So I'm active, and I'm active in the social world because I believe that social selling is the new frontier of what's going to happen in the world. Everyone goes on to Amazon.com at midnight and buys a book. And they're a one-click buyer. And for those people that are not a one-click buyer, what the hell are you thinking?
Right.
Well, I don't want to put my credit card on the internet, Jeffrey, because I might lose my identity. Like, dude, don't flatter yourself. It ain't that valuable. And plus, the credit card companies they're the ones that are promulgating that myth because they're the ones responsible when someone blows their card up.
And by the way, their identity was out there long ago anyway.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
But the real challenge is, what are you doing as a salesperson, whether you're in real estate or whether you're working at McDonald's, and your closing question is, do you want fries with that? What are you doing to socially put yourself out in the world and make yourself available? And I'm amazed that I ask my audiences, how many of you have never tweeted? And Greg, 3/4 of the audience universally raises their hands.
Oh, wow.
That's number one. And they don't know what to tweet. Or they tweet some bullshit about, here, go buy my stuff, which no one's going to do. And second of all, they don't invest any time in doing this. So they're lousy at it, and they won't invest the time to make it happen. Maybe they feel like, well, this, something kids do, or it's something that I don't want to get involved in right now because I'm sort of fat and happy, or I'm just fat. And I want to, I don't want to get involved in that because it's too much to learn or there's too much to do. Dude, turn your TV off. Not going to make a difference. You want to know who's going to be next president of the United States? I'm going to give you the answer. Doesn't matter. I'm writing my next book, my next sales book will be called The New Sale, because it has changed. The sale has just changed from when you and I started significantly. There was no internet. There was no way to find a prospect the same way you can find them right now. Either you went face to face, you cold called, or you died.
Right.
And I'm going to predict what's going to happen in sales for the next 10 years. I don't think I can go past 10. And the reason is, you go back 10 years ago, nobody could have predicted Twitter. Nobody could have predicted LinkedIn. Nobody could have predicted Facebook or YouTube. It just emerged and evolved. And whatever the next thing is, whether it's Instagram or, I don't know what the next thing is. No one knows. In fact, you wish you knew so you could call your broker. But I believe that something is going to evolve or emerge over the course of the next 4 or 5 years that will be the next thing. And all of the other social selling media is making sure that they have a platform so that they can block or beat whatever it is that's coming out. That's why they're all starting to look alike. That's why it's just as important to have a Twitter Vine as it is to have a Snapchat. Or, right. They're all trying to make video because they know video is the next thing. YouTube started that. Google did that. Now everyone wants to be video. So Instagram all of a sudden has a 15-second video, and Twitter all of a sudden has a 15-second video, and Snapchat all of a sudden has a 15-second disappearing video, and you can post your videos everywhere. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah,
well,
just fantastic.
In-house. In-house is the new outhouse.
Well, in-house.
Yeah.
I mean, in-house can save you a fortune. For a few $1,000s invested in-house, and you do not need to spend, as you know, tens of thousands of dollars to have a high-quality video camera, high-quality lighting, and the right setup. And in our industry, with the size of commissions we make, and I teach this, realtors, the top realtors need to be thought leaders. And you cannot be a thought leader unless you learn to do video. And you can't get all whacked out and embarrassed because you don't look as good as you'd like to look. Nobody does on video.
Yeah, just shoot from the neck up.
Exactly.
Here's the deal. You don't need high-quality equipment. That's a given. You need high-quality people to help you put out a high-quality message.
Yes.
And if you have that, then you have something. My daughter, Rebecca, who you have dealt with, moved here, I can't believe this. It's almost 13 years ago. And she moved to an apartment first, and then I helped her buy a home. And she finally, after a couple of years, she gets in the home, and I wasn't able to be at the closing. So I got a phone call from her, and she's on her living room floor in the rug crying. I said, what's going on, sweetie? She goes, today is the happiest day that I've ever had. Oh, cool. And the kids are running to their room and claiming their property, claiming territory like kids do. So I called the real estate agent and I said, hey, were you there? Did you film it? Silence on the other end of the phone. I said, geez, I wonder where you were. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll bet you $10,000 in cash right now that you were at the bank cashing your check. Any bets?
Wow. Interesting.
Silence. So I said, I'll tell you what you do. I don't ever want you to talk to me again. I don't ever want you to call me again. I don't ever want you to mention my name. You didn't help me sell a house. You didn't help me do anything. My kid bought the house. We funded the house. And you did pretty much jack-ish until it came time for you to get your check. And when you got your check, you ran to the bank like a fool. Every time you sell a home and the home closes, you stop whatever you're doing unless you're having a heart operation or someone's giving birth to a child or someone just had a heart attack. You follow that customer to their home with your iPhone or some kind of a iPad or some kind of a camera, and you film them putting the key in the door. And you film the little kids running to their room, and you film the mother jumping up and down that they're so happy because they're in their new kitchen. And you film the dad going out in the garage saying, this is where my tools are going to go. And then you ask them, how'd it go? How do you like the home? Oh, wow. Is this cool? Yeah. Would you mind if I sent you a copy of this video? Now you have something to post on your LinkedIn page, and they will send that video to everybody and their dog. You don't need to ask for referrals. All you need to do is show up with your iPhone. And let me explain, if you're a cheap dish, it's free.
Such a guy. I can't believe all these years in real estate. And the truth is, I've never thought of that. I've never done that. I've never actually, even if, I was mainly a listing agent, but so sell the home. Oftentimes my sellers had to buy a home. They went somewhere. And also to capture the experience even of the new buyers moving into the home I just sold them.
Greg, it's the emotion of it. The sale is made emotionally, then justified logically.
Yeah.
And instead of asking somebody for a referral and looking like a greedy jackdish, why don't you just give them the video and watch the referrals roll in?
As you know, social media platforms are a place to give and to interact and to have people do business with you because they like who you are, not because you're asking. I hate it. Well, I get all these, you have more, but I get a lot of new connections on LinkedIn all the time, every day. And with maybe some percent, 25% of them, the first thing I see from them after the first level connection is something like, here's what I follow. Right. Well, not just that, here's what I do. And have you ever considered this? And would you consider dealing with me in this? Or have you looked as your financial planner, all this stuff?
I can make you money. Right.
Yeah. This person, I say to myself, every time I see it, this person doesn't have the right to ask me that at this point.
Exactly.
They have not earned the right.
Right. What keeps you up at night, Greg? Answer. None of your business.
Yeah, exactly.
None of your business. Why are you asking me none of your business questions?
But I think that's one of the mistakes, that one of the perceptions people have about social media and all these platforms is that it's a place to go out and sell. And it's actually a wonderful place to attract business, but not by, and I'm just going to ask if you agree with me, not by direct selling, but by giving good content, sharing good ideas, having people say, wow, that's a person who I want to ask to do business with.
I agree 100%. And this is it's equally as important. The social platform is where you get rated.
Yeah. The
social platform is your reputation. Yes. So if you look at Yelp, when you go to a restaurant, you go to Yelp and you see if it's a 3.5 or a 4.2 or whatever the rating is. If you're going to go stay at a hotel, you look at TripAdvisor and you look at all the ratings, you read all the pictures. I read the number 1 comments. I read the 1 stars.
Right.
If you go to Amazon and you read 1-star ratings of their own stuff like Kindle and Fire and that kind of stuff, they're the worst things on the planet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So your ability to be rated as a human being or as a business is right in front of you.
Yes.
And you're not doing jack shit about it. That's what I don't understand. Okay, so that's number 1. People don't understand that salespeople are no longer invisible. They can't hide behind a bad transaction. That bad transaction is going to come it's going to be all over the planet.
Right.
So that's where I think you have to look at not just taking advantage of the social selling opportunity, but taking advantage of the reputation opportunity. 2 gives. Number 1 is you have to give the value on the social side. And number 2 is you have to give enough something to get a reputation from it. Because if I'm an employer, am I really going to look at your resume to see if your high school gym teacher really liked you? Do I care about that? That's 20 years ago.
Right.
What I care about is, let me talk to your last 2 customers. Give me their phone numbers.
Or, and of course, even maybe easier than that, one of the things I talk about, and you just talked about, connections on LinkedIn or recommendations on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. How in the world can you be on LinkedIn and not have at least 15 or 20 or 30 or 40 written recommendations where people go in and see that. I mean, they're the social proof. I mean, that to me, it's crazy. And it's not that hard. When I was at a Genius Network event a couple of months ago, Joe Polish introduced me to Jean-Paul DeJario.
I know Joe Polish. He's a good guy.
He's a real good guy. Yeah. And John, just backstage before John spoke, and he said to me, I said, just give me one takeaway, John. I mean, great chance. And he said, Greg, success unshared is failure. Success unshared is failure. Everything you know, share it. Yeah. Everything you know, share it. Yeah,
why do people get in the way of a sale? Like, have to tell me how great they are. No, dude, just ask me what I need, not what I want, what I need, and try to fulfill that need. So be a giver, fulfill needs. Now, that's not what I would call dynamic information, Greg, but in your business, it is.
I love it. Actually, it is dynamic. Be a giver and fulfill needs.
And qualify nobody. Giver. Qualify nobody.
Okay, so the 3 big lessons from today, and I love them. Qualify nobody, be a giver, and fulfill needs.
Yep.
Just ask people, you're going to ask anything, ask people, what are your needs?
Don't ask me about my mortgage. I don't like my mortgage. I don't even like people that like a mortgage. I think the most important part about the business of property is you have to take your experience and use it to help people rather than know everything. If you've been doing this for 20 years, the odds are you haven't tweeted. If you've been doing this for 20 years, the odds are you're still buying toilet paper to people when they move in their home. Have their home cleaned, you cheap. Walk in with a whole maid set and make that place sparkle so that when they walk in, they go, wow, how did this happen? And you go in the kitchen, it says, house clean, compliments of Bob Jones.
And then maybe be there.
Oh, yeah.
Or have a professional there with the camera.
That's a whole other thing. But yeah,
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Have it sparkling clean and then have those first moments on video.
Yep.
Those are pretty good takeaways, wouldn't you say?
Cool. Yeah.
For all of you out there, jeffreygitomer.com, jeffreygitomer.com/gold to check out the webinars.
Bingo.
And Jeffrey's website is just loaded with great stuff. I mean, loaded with great stuff.
Thanks.
And if you don't have his books, I will tell you, they are, in my view, the best books ever written on selling. His Little Red Book of Selling, to me, was just like the coolest thing. And I mean, great takeaway. So, Jeffrey.
I have to say, Greg, you're an excellent judge.
How did I know you might say that? Jeffrey,
listen, thank you. It's a pleasure. It's a mutual pleasure. I can promise you that. You have made the mark in your business, and you deserve it.
Well, thank you, Jeffrey. Appreciate it. And for all you Mavericks out there, thank you for listening in. Thank you for watching our very first live teleconference with video with Jeffrey Gitomer. So you guys knock it dead this week, and we'll see you again next Thursday.
Hey, email Greg and tell him you want the next one. Then we'll know if we did it or we bombed.
I got you. Well, in fact, all right, then do it. If you like this, email me, greg@realestatemaverics.com. Here's the deal. Whether you like it, don't like it, whatever, just show some reaction. Just do something.
Exactly.
greg@realestatemaverics.com, and I'll pass everything along to Jeffrey.
Thank you.
Jeffrey, thank you. Enjoy your day, and thank you all out there. We'll see you next Thursday. And until next Thursday, always remember, salute the Maverick in you. Bye-bye.